Yeah, check it on Facebook, bro. See if we live. So yeah, what's going on? If y'all do see what we got, see us on here. We trying to go live, trying to talk to y'all a little bit about the Resiliency Garden Project. See what's going on, we basically, man, transmitting live from Northside and all that there. For the last month now, we've been doing this Resiliency Garden Project. Oh, yeah, check. I don't know. Check Facebook first.
No, it's YouTube, man.
It's on YouTube Live. Oh, baby, what's up, YouTube? We on YouTube Live, baby. So, all right. So this is what we're gonna do. I don't know who's seeing this. I'm trying to get the chat working. Chat don't work, but I'm gonna try to figure out how to get it right for y'all. You know what I'm saying? So we can communicate with the people. But yeah, man. So essentially, the last month or so, we've been. Well, let me start like this. All right, my name is Deron Chavis, right? So I am the founder and director of Happily Natural Day, which is a grassroots festival that focuses on cultural identity, holistic health and wellness, and social change. It's founded in 2003 here in Richmond, Virginia. We've been doing this festival for so long. The original intent of it, we started out basically talking about how important it is for people to themselves, especially if they're of African ancestry. Over time, we connected with a lot of great workers in the community. Specifically, we connected with Black farmers, and those farmers put us on the game and told us how important it was for us to be talking about where food comes from. So 2020, we've been really rocking heavy around the topic of urban agriculture. The last, 12 years, we've been on how to grow as much healthy food as we possibly can in an urban environment. And, we've done that through farms and community gardens and orchards, composting programs, all types of things, in terms of growing food in the community. And figured that it would be super important, super dope to respond to this COVID crisis with a program that could increase folks' access to healthy food. So what that looks like is when the state of Virginia started shutting down stay-at-home orders and all that type of stuff, we responded by way of delivering raised beds to folks in the community. What that looked like, basically, for appropriate social distancing, we enlist the help of volunteers to deliver a raised bed box, 6x4, directly to a person that requests it home. we did it specifically because I imagine, when stuff started shutting down, that people would need some way to remain socially distanced. Look, we're live on YouTube, I think.
Yeah, we're on YouTube.
Look, ain't we fancy? Look at that. Oh, shit. I don't know. I'm trying to see if I can get it on Facebook, but I don't know.
You can do 2 platforms simultaneously?
I think so. I say we can. I say we can do more than one platform at a time, but it's not letting me do YouTube. So it's not letting me do Facebook. But I am on. What it says, I'm online on Periscope, and I'm online on YouTube. But it says it's sending data to Facebook. I don't know where it's at on Facebook though. Maybe it's on. I don't know. Well, anyway. So, all right, what we're doing, right now is because people were told to remain socially distanced, and that this pandemic, this disease, this COVID-19 is extremely. Let me see that lighter. Is extremely contagious, and it's communicable by air and what? Through your hands, through contact. It was like, all right, well, let's figure out a way that people don't have to go to the grocery store if they have immunodeficiencies. And then also, as this stuff was started to hit the fan, immediately thought that it would be an issue for food systems, right? And for people to get access to healthy food, it would be a challenge, as the strain of people getting infected, people being laid off from their job, that this would compromise elements of the food system that allow us to eat fresh fruits and vegetables and meats and whatever. So what we went about doing was to set up a system where volunteers could pick up wood from a designated location, take that wood to a person who has requested a raised bed's address. Another volunteer will come behind them, actually build the raised bed, and then another person will come behind them and deliver the soil. So in that way, it wouldn't be too much strain on any one individual to support this work. And at the same time, everyone will be able to remain socially distanced. So that means that it only takes one person to do each part of the process. One person come pick up the wood. One person go build the box. Or pick up the wood and drop it off. Then one person come build a box. And then another person come and drop the soil off. So since I think we got all that bamboo in his back. Yeah, we're on the porch. Somebody just rolled by with a whole box back of their truck filled with bamboo. So anyway, we would work to keep everybody distanced. So far, we started the project, I think, the last week of March, and it's May 13th today. So far, we've delivered over 90 raised beds, maybe closer to 100 raised beds completed, soil in the box, box built. People got plants. We got a whole system too, where we got volunteers that are growing seedlings for folks and delivering the seedlings to people's home. Brassicas, now tomatoes and peppers and squashes and all that type of stuff. This has been a fascinating work to do this. Shout out to the volunteers first and foremost, because without them, we wouldn't have been able to do any of the raised beds. Shout out to everyone that's donated to the project, because we've raised over $23,000 since starting this project, just for the purchase of soil and the purchase of wood, and also to get us a truck so that we can move the materials. What's dope about this, or what's interesting about this, first and foremost, is that even before there was a crisis, a COVID crisis, there were people who didn't have access to healthy food. So that means that there were people in the neighborhoods in the city who were already stressed by not having, a grocery store near to them. You know what I mean? So even if there was no COVID, we still probably could have did this and, been making a difference in people's, reality in terms of them having the agency to grow their own food, in the community. So that's the first thing. The second thing, which is the thing that happened today, right, is we were getting a lot of requests all over the Richmond region. So, I think the furthest away we got requests so far was like Montpelier, which is 30 minutes away to the west, and then like Petersburg, Virginia, which is 30 minutes to the south, and then even Ashland, which is 30 minutes, 15, 20 minutes to north of Richmond. Amazing. People found out about what we were doing. We got it on the news, all that type of stuff. Shout out to Embassy 12. Shout out to Style Weekly. Shout out to Richmond Magazine. Shout out to NPR. Everybody that's lifted up the narrative of what we're doing. But what happened today was fascinating to me because I got into this whole back and forth with a person that had requested a raised bed. So, gentrification is an issue wherever city you might be in, tuning in. I'm sure you know of a neighborhood in your community that's wrestling with gentrification. I hope I don't have to explain what gentrification is, but just in case, it's basically the process where formerly marginalized communities, or basically communities that have been redlined, have people moving into those neighborhoods from the counties, from the surrounding areas. They're renovating these homes, buying them at a super cheap rate, and turn around, improving them as starter homes. And then as a result of their improvements of those homes, it pushes out the existing community, right? They can't afford to live there anymore because property values go up, rent goes up. And then as well, they bring a whole nother cultural reality with them that further marginalizes, Black and brown communities. So yesterday, I went out to build a raised bed to someone that requested. Now, mind you, the requirements for this program, we didn't really set no rigid paperwork. We need to see your income taxes or your last pay stub or your letter of termination. None of that shit was not necessary. None of that was necessary. All we said was like, if you experience food insecurity, then we'll build you a raised bed box for free, right? And all you got to do is fill out the form, and boom, we'll come in and do it. You know what I mean? Really wasn't thinking that people would just apply if they weren't food insecure. And so maybe I think the education point that we needed to do was to explain what exactly is food insecurity. So, food insecurity is either you can't afford healthy food, or the food that is healthy is not accessible to, or is not close or is not proximate to where you reside, or the food that is available is not healthy at all, or it's not culturally appropriate, or you can't afford it. So, food insecurity for some people looks like I just got laid off. I just got laid off from my job, and I don't have the money to go buy healthy food. Food security for others might look like I live in a neighborhood that doesn't have a grocery store, and I don't have a car to get to the grocery store that is over a mile or more. So the USDA says a food desert is an area that doesn't have access to a grocery store within a mile or more of its residents. So if you live in that community, you don't have a car, if you live in an area that doesn't have a grocery store within a mile or more, you're considered food insecure if you don't have transportation to get to the grocery store. Some reason, we get in a lot of requests from folks that have the means. They have a car, they have a job, they got income coming in, but they still wanted to raise bed. Now, hey, look, I don't know anything about people's bank accounts, and I'm not the one to be trying to look through and see whether or not you got money or not. But when I roll up on these houses, you know what I'm saying, and you got the freshly manicured lawn, you know what I'm saying, the house is newly renovated, you got the River Rock landscaping with the evergreen plants, and you got rhododendrons and peonies, you know what I mean, and your house, your front yard looks freshly done. My first question is, and it's obvious that your house looks really nice in comparison to the others around it, and you got 2 cars in the driveway. I wonder whether or not you really are in need of our assistance. So this put me in a unique position, right? Because I don't like judging. I ain't trying to judge nobody. I don't know if you got laid off, you know what I'm saying, or what. But I had an incident. So yesterday I rode over to this house. It's in my neighborhood. I live in north side of Richmond. And so in my neighborhood, this particular house that we went to, I texted them. I was like, yo, can I come build your box? Because somebody had already delivered the wood. And so I go and I'm like, oh, this house is nice. This is a nice house. You know what I mean? And no judgment. I'm just like, we're just going to go build the box. Now, all this stuff that I'm talking about hadn't even come up consciously that deep for me yet. So I'll go build the box. Dip. Lady texts me. She goes, do y'all drop off the soil too? And I'm like, yeah, we do drop off the soil. But if you can afford to buy your own soil, we encourage people to do so because we have limited resources and we want to make sure that the people that can't afford it get what they need, right? So she says, okay, great, we'll go get our own soil. I'm thinking it's done. I'm like, oh, great, people are amazing. I'm over here feeling good. I'm like, yeah, people will do the right thing. You know what I mean? Like they'll go and get their soil because they got the money to go get it. So the next morning, she texts me and she says they looked up how much it costs for soil and they can't afford it. Okay, that's fine. Well, but in the end of the message was, you could give the raised bed to someone else because we can't afford the soil. And I was like, you can keep the box. We'll send someone to give you some soil.
Yeah, how you doing, bro?
Yo, peace. We'll send someone to come give you some soil. But soil for a raised bed, it costs about $70. And it would be great if you can, well, I said, and we will hope that you will consider making a donation for someone that can't afford it. Yo. So, her response was really like, oh, well, do y'all just give, is this program just for people of a certain race? And it seems like that y'all are about anti-racism because you said you were inspired by Leah Penniman. And I was like, right? She said we should change up what we put on the website because it appears like this program is not what it seems. I was a little offended. I ain't gonna front. I'm not even gonna pretend like I took that shit like so I was like, what? Who do you think you're talking to? I just came on my own time on the community dime and built you a raised bed. You ain't even say thank you. You know what I'm saying? Nothing. Anyway, so she was like, you can come pick up the box. I'm like, well, actually, we don't have the capacity to pick up the box. You can have it. You know what I mean? And anyway, she goes into this whole tirade about, you know, is this program specifically for people of a certain race? And I thought that was a really interesting question because, you know, nowhere on our website, nowhere anywhere have we indicated that this is just for the blacks. You know what I'm saying? And in fact, we've given out quite a many raised beds to people of any racial background, religious age, whatever, where in region, wherever you at, we have not even stopped to say, oh, well, it's too many white people getting boxes. That's not even a part of the consciousness. So I asked her, so why would you even bring race into this thing? You know, we just, you know, this is how that part become a part of the discussion. So basically, I think what happened was she was looking for me to say that we are only giving this stuff to people of African ancestry, which is not the case. If you got a need, if you are food insecure, then you get a box. No donation required. And I explained that to her. I said, you don't have to make a donation, but would you please consider giving one? You know what I'm saying? And donation, financial is great, but you can also donate time or resources. You know what I mean? Some of those really nice river rocks in the front of your house could have gone to somebody for some reason. So anyway, yeah, that kind of fucked with me, man. It made me feel like, you know, in the age of this pandemic where everybody is afraid and precautious, that, you know, there are some really fucked up people out here, man, that maybe they don't understand why, you know, we're doing this. I mean, when we talked about starting it, I mean, we hadn't even gotten the data that said that black people were catching COVID more as a result of structural racism. It just was already, we already knew that we would be the most vulnerable communities because of systemic racism, because of the fact we live in communities that don't have access to healthy food, because we work the lowest paying jobs that, you know, are the quote unquote essential employees. Like, we're the cashiers, you know, we're the housekeeping folks. You know what I'm saying? We're the people on the front line that got to deal with the nastiness every day. And, you know, at the core of my heart is like, you know, we want justice and equity for our communities, but this program was just designed just to serve people who are in need. It wasn't specifically about race. We probably could have done that. We probably could have been like, well, if you're white, then you got to pay more, did a racial equity scale in terms of that. But it wasn't, for me, I wasn't even interested in getting that complicated with it. You know what I mean? Like, I just, for real, on a spiritual level, feel like, honesty is a principle that we should all abide by. Transparency, authenticity. And that if you were trying to scam the system or whatever, that the universe, the ancestors, the Most High, God, whatever, checkmate, karma, reciprocity, whatever it is that you believe in terms of the boomerang or you earning your keep on this planet, if you tried to scam, the shit will come back to you. You know what I'm saying? So, and I still feel that way. For real. I still feel that way. I feel like, if you try to scam some program that's trying to do the right thing in the community, then the universe is going to smack the shit out you. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't got to do nothing about it. But it was really, it's been really interesting for me doing this project, riding around the region and seeing, how the other half lives. To be candid, I'm going into neighborhoods that I'd never been in before. You know what I'm saying? Parts of town, I knew that general area existed, but these developments and, where people stand, it's some nice subdivisions out here. You know what I mean? And people are doing pretty damn decent. In terms of from appearances. So yeah, that was something that was on my mind. But on another note, this has really been a super powerful experience because on a community level, like let me see your lighter. Keep letting this fucking black go out. On a community level, what we've seen is that people of all ethnicities, all backgrounds, have shown up to support folks that requested help, man, on a just really basic, fundamental, hey, I want to help folks level. We've seen people donating all across the region, people giving their time all across the region, people riding out, 30 minutes outside the city, people coming to Richmond and taking raised beds to Petersburg, people coming out taking raised beds to Hanover, taking raised beds to Ashland, taking raised beds out to Glen Allen, all over the city. And that to me is a powerful testament to, the human spirit of resiliency, our capacity to bounce back. So, what we really want this project to do is hopefully inspire people to, get involved in their food system and, grow their own food. Hopefully those that are getting a raised bed for the first time are recognizing just how powerful it is to be involved in that process of growing your own food. Folks that are a little further ahead, are accelerating their process of growing their own food, and hopefully, by way of the website, the Facebook page that we created, Resiliency Gardens, people are sharing information and tips and experiences that will help, them be more proficient in growing their own food. So Yeah, man, it's ill. It's wild. Um, at the same time, while we're doing all this, we still farming. You know, we're at Farm and Family with Mark Lilly and the rest of the crew, and that's going pretty good. I mean, in my opinion, I feel like we're doing a really good job of breaking up this 3/4 acre plot of land, and right now we have planted peppers, we planted greens, tomatoes. You know, we I think we circumnavigated the last frost that was pretty intense. Um, Shoot, I mean, for real. We only lost a couple tomatoes in the process, so we're doing that at the same time as we're delivering these boxes and everything. So it's a lot of work. Um, for those that aren't aware, I did get laid off from my job, and just pivoted, man. I just got my paperwork in the mail for our nonprofit. The Happily Natural Day is officially a nonprofit now. So while we've been taking donations through our fiscal sponsor at the Enrichment Foundation, we will be switching that over soon, so that we can take our donations directly without having to incur any fees. So yeah, man, that's basically what's happening, man. That's what's going on. I mean, it's amazing. I'm honored to be a part of this work. I hope, I'm glad we actually got requests for over 200 raised beds, and we're coming down to like the last 80 raised beds or so that need to be built. So we're almost done, and I'm happy that we did this. And after these last raised beds are done, we're gonna stop giving out raised beds. I mean, well, it's not. I'm not saying it like we stop and just. It's not the end of the program, but in terms of the requests, they've slowed down significantly. And resources are finite. So I mean, we raised enough money to do this batch. And maybe, at the end of the summer for the fall, we'll come back and do it again. But we got other shit to do. And, I can't, we can't dedicate all of our time to doing these raised beds. I mean, this is it's a first come, first served basis. And maybe later in the year, we'll come back around with it, to see how it goes. So, yeah, that's it, man. This is also just a test of our live streaming capacity. So if you rock with this and thought it was good, click like or whatever it is you do, or share it or something. And we'll be back with you another day, another time. Website. thenaturalfestival.com is the website. Check that out. Our social medias, the Happily Natural Festival, as well as Deron Chavis and Brother Manifest on Twitter. You can check us out. Appreciate y'all tuning in, and we'll be with you again on another time. You know what I'm saying? Peace.